Stop handing the keys to your happiness to people who don't deserve a seat at your table. Most strategies for dealing with disrespect fail because they focus on changing others. But today, you learn the one internal shift that renders toxicity powerless. This isn't about winning arguments. It's about becoming a person who is impossible to offend. We are breaking down the specific morning ritual Marcus Aurelius used to handle treachery, the psychological reason silence is your greatest weapon, and the exact moment a toxic person loses their grip on you forever. Mastery over your peace is the only revenge that matters. Chapter 1. The Invisible Weight of Disrespect. Disrespect is a heavy burden to carry when you do not have the right tools to handle it. You might feel it as a sharp sting in your chest when a colleague dismisses your idea, or a dull ache when a family member treats you like your time does not matter. Most of us spend our lives trying to solve this problem by changing the people around us. We think that if we are just a little kinder, or perhaps a little firmer, or if we explain our feelings one more time, the toxic person will finally understand and change their behavior. But this is the fundamental mistake that leads to endless cycles of frustration. Stoic philosophy teaches us that trying to control the behavior of a toxic person is like trying to stop the rain from falling. You will only end up wet and exhausted. The weight of disrespect does not actually come from the words spoken by another person. It comes from the value you place on those words. When someone treats you poorly, they are making a statement about their own character, not yours. However, because we are social creatures, we have been conditioned to see our reflection in the eyes of others. If someone looks at us with contempt, we begin to wonder if we are worthy of contempt. This is where the toxicity takes root. It is not the external action that poisons us, but the internal acceptance of that action as a truth. To stop being disrespected, you have to stop participating in the game of seeking external validation. The moment you decide that your worth is entirely independent of how others perceive you, the weight begins to lift. Chapter 2. The one decision that changes everything. There is a single decision you can make today that will fundamentally alter how toxic people interact with you. This decision is not a magic spell that makes them disappear, but it is a psychological shield that makes their behavior irrelevant. That decision is to accept that you have absolutely no control over what other people say or do, and simultaneously, you have absolute control over how you process those events. This is the core of the dichotomy of control, a principle championed by the slave-turned-philosopher Epictetus. In his writings, specifically in the Enchiridion, Epictetus makes it very clear that some things are up to us and some things are not. Our opinions, our intentions, and our own reactions are up to us. The words of others, their opinions of us, and their behavior are not. When you truly embrace this, you realize that a toxic person can only disrespect you if you allow their behavior to cross the boundary into your inner citadel. If you decide once and for all that your peace of mind is your most valuable possession, you will stop trading it for the cheap satisfaction of winning an argument or demanding an apology that will never come. This one decision to stay within your own zone of control acts as a barrier. When a toxic person realizes they can no longer pull your strings or get a reaction out of you, they often lose interest. They are looking for a target that responds. When you become a wall that reflects nothing back, the disrespect has nowhere to land. Chapter 3. The Wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Morning Preparation. Marcus Aurelius was the Emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world at his time. He had every reason to be stressed and surrounded by people who wanted to use him, lie to him, or undermine him. Yet, he wrote a personal diary, which we now know as the Meditations, to remind himself how to stay grounded. At the start of Book 2, he gives himself a famous piece of advice that we should all use when dealing with toxic individuals. He told himself to prepare every morning for the people he would encounter. He knew he would meet the ungrateful, the violent, the treacherous, the envious, and the uncharitable. He did not tell himself to avoid these people because he knew that was impossible. Instead, he reminded himself that these people behave this way because they do not know the difference between good and evil. He realized that since he knew the beauty of what is right and the ugliness of what is wrong, none of these people could actually harm him. They could not touch his character. They could not make him angry or hateful because he recognized that they were his kinsmen in nature. When you apply this to your own life, you stop being surprised by toxicity. Disrespect only hurts when it is unexpected. If you go into your day knowing that toxic people will act according to their nature, you are no longer a victim of their behavior. You are an observer of it. You expect the rude comment from the neighbor or the passive-aggressive remark from the boss. Because you expected it, it has no power over you. You have already processed it before it even happened. You are like a doctor treating a patient with a fever. You don't get angry at the patient for having a high temperature, because that is just a symptom of their condition. Toxicity is a symptom of a confused and unhappy mind. Chapter 4. Seneca and the Architecture of Anger. Seneca, another great Stoic teacher, wrote extensively about anger and how it destroys us. In his essay on anger, he explains that anger is a choice, even if it feels like an automatic reaction. We get angry when we feel disrespected because we have a false expectation that the world should treat us fairly. Seneca suggests that we should build an internal architecture that is too strong for the winds of disrespect to blow down. He tells the story of a man named Cato, who was once struck in the face while at the public baths. Instead of getting angry or demanding a legal punishment, Cato simply ignored the insult. Later, when the man who struck him came to apologize, Cato replied that he did not even remember being hit. This is the ultimate level of Stoic power. To be disrespected and to feel so little impact that you don't even require an apology. Seneca explains that a great mind knows its own worth and therefore does not need to defend it against someone who is inferior in character. If a small child calls you a name, you don't get offended. You recognize that the child doesn't know any better. Stoicism asks us to view toxic people in a similar light. Their disrespect is a reflection of their own internal chaos. If you respond with anger, you are essentially admitting that their opinion matters. You are lowering yourself to their level. By staying calm and indifferent, you maintain your superior position. You prove that your internal world is governed by reason, while theirs is governed by impulse. Chapter 5. The Price of Peace. Epictetus often used the analogy of a marketplace to explain how we handle our emotions. He said that everything has a price. If you want peace of mind, the price is often letting someone else win an argument or allowing someone to think they have insulted you without you pushing back. Many people find this difficult because their ego wants to be right. They want the toxic person to know that they were wrong. But Epictetus asks us to consider what is more valuable, your tranquility or your ego being satisfied. If you spend your day ruminating on what a toxic person said, you are paying a very high price for something that has zero value. You are giving away your time, your energy, and your happiness to someone you don't even like. Stoic philosophy teaches us to be stingy with our mental energy. We should only spend it on things that improve us. When a toxic person tries to disrespect you, think of it as a transaction. They are trying to sell you their anger and their drama. You have the choice to simply not buy it. You can walk away, not just physically, but mentally. This is what it means to do it once. You make a firm policy for yourself: I do not participate in drama. Once that policy is set, you don't have to decide what to do every time someone is rude. The decision is already made. You follow your policy and you move on. Chapter 6. The Shield of Indifference. There is a big difference between being a doormat and being stoic. A doormat is someone who is afraid to speak up and lets people walk over them because they lack self-worth. A Stoic is someone who sees the attempt to walk over them and realizes that the person doing the walking is actually the one in a weak position. Indifference is the most powerful weapon in the Stoic toolkit. It is more effective than any comeback or any shouting match. When you are indifferent to disrespect, you are telling the toxic person that they are not important enough to affect your mood. In various historical accounts, and even in modern depictions of Stoic figures in shows and literature, we see that the person who remains calm always holds the power. Think of a character who is being interrogated or insulted, but remains perfectly still, perhaps even offering a small, knowing smile. That calmness is terrifying to a toxic person because it shows that their primary weapon, their ability to upset you, is broken. Toxic people thrive on the energy of others. They need you to be angry so they can justify their own anger. They need you to be defensive so they can find more holes in your logic. When you provide them with nothing but calm indifference, they have nothing to work with. You are not fighting them. You are simply refusing to play the game. This is how you ensure they never disrespect you again. They might still say the words, but because those words no longer have the power to disrespect your spirit, the act of disrespect itself has failed. Chapter 7. The Perspective of the Cosmos. Stoics often practiced what they called the view from above. This involved visualizing themselves from high up in the sky, looking down at their city, their country, and the entire planet. From this perspective, our individual problems look very small. The person who didn't say thank you, the colleague who took credit for your work, or the friend who whispered behind your back, all of these things disappear into insignificance when compared to the vastness of time and space. Marcus Aurelius frequently used this technique to keep his ego in check. He reminded himself that everything is ephemeral. The people who are disrespecting you today will be gone in a few decades, and so will you. The insults will be forgotten. The reputations we worry about so much will vanish. When you look at your life through the lens of eternity, a toxic person's behavior seems less like a catastrophe and more like a tiny, insignificant blip. By zooming out, you gain the clarity to realize that your character is the only thing that actually stays with you. If you respond to toxicity with more toxicity, you are damaging the only thing you truly own. If you respond with stoic virtue, you are strengthening your soul. The next time someone tries to bring you down, try to see the situation from a cosmic perspective. Ask yourself if this moment will matter in 10 years or even 10 months. Most of the time, the answer is no. This realization allows you to let go of the need for vengeance or validation. Chapter 8. Transforming Obstacles into Fuel. The final stage of mastering the Stoic approach to toxic people is learning how to use their behavior for your own growth. This is the concept of amor fati, or the love of fate. Instead of wishing that toxic people didn't exist, you start to see them as a necessary part of your training. A weightlifter does not complain that the weights are heavy. He welcomes the weight because it is the only way to build muscle. A toxic person is a moral weight that helps you build the muscles of patience, self-control, and resilience. Every time someone is rude to you, you are being given a chance to practice being a better person. You can practice not reacting. You can practice empathy by trying to understand how miserable they must be to act that way. You can practice the art of maintaining your own inner peace under pressure. When you flip the script in this way, the toxic person is no longer your enemy. They are your teacher. They are providing you with a free lesson in philosophy. This is the ultimate once-and-for-all shift. When you stop fearing disrespect and start seeing it as an opportunity for practice, toxic people lose all their power. They are trying to hurt you, but they are accidentally making you stronger. Once you realize this, you can't help but feel a bit of gratitude for the challenge they provide. You have moved from being a victim to being a master of your own internal state. Chapter 9. The Practice of Silence. In many Stoic writings, the power of silence is highly emphasized. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, famously said that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, so we can listen more than we speak. When dealing with toxic people, silence is often your best response. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your boundaries. You do not have to defend your character against false accusations. Often, when we try to explain ourselves to a toxic person, we are just giving them more ammunition. We are showing them where we are vulnerable. Silence, on the other hand, is a closed door. It shows that you are not engaging. It keeps your power within you. In your daily life, when someone says something designed to provoke you, try waiting 5 seconds before responding. In those 5 seconds, ask yourself if a response is even necessary. Many times, you will find that the best response is no response at all. This silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of immense self-regulation. It is the silence of a mountain that is unaffected by the storm around it. As you practice this, you will find that you have more energy for the things that actually matter. You will no longer be exhausted by social battles because you have stopped participating in them. You have chosen the path of the Stoic, which is the path of quiet, unshakable strength. Chapter 10. Living the Unshakable Life. To live a life where toxic people no longer have power over you, you must commit to this philosophy every single day. It is not enough to just understand these ideas intellectually. You have to live them. This means doing the work of checking your impressions and catching yourself before you react with anger or hurt. It means constantly reminding yourself of the dichotomy of control. The goal of Stoicism is to reach a state of ataraxia, or a mind that is free from disturbance. This doesn't mean you become a robot with no feelings. It means you have such a strong foundation of reason that external events can no longer shake you. You become like a deep ocean. The surface might be choppy with waves of disrespect and chaos, but deep down, everything is calm and still. When you master this, everything really does change. Your relationships improve because you are no longer reactive. Your work life improves because you can stay focused on your tasks regardless of the office politics. Most importantly, your relationship with yourself improves because you know that your worth is built on your own virtue, not on the fickle opinions of others. You have done the one thing necessary. You have taken back the keys to your own happiness. From this day forward, toxic people are just background noise in the beautiful symphony of your life. You have the power, you have the philosophy, and you have the strength to remain unmoved. Disrespect only has the power you grant it. Walk away from the need for validation and step into your own strength. If this lesson provided the clarity you needed, hit the like button right now. Share this with a friend who is struggling with a difficult person, because everyone deserves to know how to protect their peace. Subscribe to join our community of modern Stoics and drop a comment saying "Unshakable" to show you are taking control of your life today. Your journey to an undisturbed mind starts with this one decision. Keep your focus on your character and let the world do what it will. You are the master of your own soul.